I've broken OBS. That's fine. Everything's fine. Hey. Right. I fixed it because everything's great. So, what we're going to do tonight. Goose is leaking our one of one in the lobby bar, which is very funny. What we're going to do tonight is we're going to talk all things ambassadors, all things subdomains, what we've got already, what we've got coming, and what we can do with it in the future. Lovely. So, what I'm going to do is welcome everybody to the PurrCast for the 20th of April. It is Wednesday, as always. I'm joined, as always, by Carlini, but we also have, for his first time on the PurrCast, hodl.pcc.eth. Welcome, sir.
Good day. Thanks for having me on.
Absolute pleasure, my friend. Long time coming. It became a bit of a meme at one point that I was never going to get you on. And then you kind of stumbled across something really great that has pushed the project forward in a really big way. So it's like, well, kind of have to have you on now. So yes, we will be discussing all of that, how it works, how to get the new ambassador role, what it means for us moving forward, and all of that fun stuff. But first, Carlini, if I can just come to you for the first question, I'm going to put 60 seconds on the clock. Why have we changed the ambassador role?
I'm not very good in anything quickly. Okay, why have we changed the ambassador role? 60 seconds. So the ambassador role before was clunky, it was manual, it was a lot of work for very little gain. We knew it could be completely gamed, and we told people how to game it because we're open like that. We're very much all about knowing. We know the systems we put in place. Almost every system can be gamed in some way, but we're not going to hide it from you. It's more about putting barriers in the way, because making you change your Discord profile picture to a purr is good marketing, right? You makes you an ambassador of the project, so when you're talking in other Discords, they see your purr. They don't necessarily ask about it, but they still see it, and you're penetrating their brainwaves a little bit. But we knew you could just change your picture just in ours, get the role, blah de blah, and that that's fine. The main issue was just that we had to, whenever we're doing anything useful, we had to manually check for the purr's image, and that was a pain. And the automation levels were much lower because we had to use Discord. So you have to pull a list of roles in Discord to be able to then benefit the ambassadors. Whereas now, that is no longer the case. The new ambassador program, we know, you can split up your pairs and get more than one subdomain if you want. We know that's possible. That does cost gas, it's effort, and with this new idea of, I guess what I'm calling quests, it just adds that level of that barrier in the way to people bothering, I guess, to try and game it. And because we're using subdomains, it's on ETH, and that's very, well, I don't want to say very easy to work with, because I don't know, that's Hodl's, that's why he's here. But I can say, hey, Hodl, let's try this, and he says, okay. So that is why.
I think that was 120 seconds, but we'll take it. Yeah, amazing.
I doubled it.
So, Hodl, yeah, if I can bring you in on that to kind of speak to maybe just a quick word on what subdomains are, obviously with that linking to the ambassador role, and then how the ambassador role is now going to work. sort of from now on? How do you get it? How that all works?
So, what subdomains are? I guess the subdomain really is like a verifiable username. We can link the subdomain to the NFT, and no one can have a subdomain if they haven't got an NFT. And I think the thing in the blockchain and Web3 as a whole is things tend to be very isolated. Individual contracts don't really kind of communicate with each other, and the individual chains definitely don't communicate with each other either. And what kind of writing this custom resolver for the ENS has allowed us to do is kind of bridge that. ENS in itself has a gateway to the outside world. It has a gateway to Web 2, where we can kind of query that, and we can kind of query ownership and resolve addresses in a very kind of neat and kind of organic way. And the ability for us to kind of leverage that, to be able to link to the PurrCast, enables us to link it back to Web 2. And then we can kind of really make things come alive, make things, I'd say more linked and more verified between those two worlds, which are so far apart.
Awesome. Yeah, I think the phrase that we used the other day, or that you coined, that I got credited with, which I 100% will take, is it makes your username, your display name, a verifiable profile picture, right? So they're linked together, especially with our subdomains. Obviously, every subdomain has to be conjoined to one of our main collections, one of our cats, one of the PurrCast. So yeah, those two are like inexorably linked.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got people out there representing PurrCast with their profile pictures, and maybe there's some people reluctant to do that because they want to use a different profile picture. Well, we get the best of both worlds now. People can use whichever profile picture they want. Obviously, using Penelope's is absolutely fantastic, but they don't have to. They can use, they can use their Bored Ape, they can use their Kong, they can use their VX, they can use whatever they want, but they can use their PCC.eth that's attached to their cat, and they can still rep us at the same time, and they can still get those ambassador benefits. So it's really, really great. There's a lot of competition for profile picture space, and I believe we are the only project that's ever done this, which seems absolutely bonkers to me. It's 5 months since we've launched the original contract.
Yeah, which is wild.
Yeah, we put it out into the public. We were very, very open about it. I was very open with a lot of developers about it as well, saying, if they needed any support in terms of rolling it out for their own projects. I had a few people kind of messaging me. I know Kongs spoke about it quite positively towards the end of January. That was kind of 4 months ago. But as of today, and there is not another single NFT community project that has launched subdomains. We are, taking it, I guess, to the next level. Really, we're pulling it in. We're going to add some utility into it, more utility at the start, but definitely integrating it within our ecosystem, and then we just keep moving forward. I say it's really, really great from a development point of view to be able to use it and actually, physically it be useful for, outside of Web3, outside of that Ethereum blockchain.
Yeah, amazing, man. Really, really cool. So Colin, if you want to talk about the initial utility, I guess. I know you mentioned it in your Dreamatorium article, Medium article, which you dropped yesterday, which I'm going to pin in the space now for anyone who didn't see it just yet or didn't give it a read. So yeah, if you want to talk about the initial utility that we're going to be bringing to the ambassador role and to subdomains in general. Yeah,
of course. So the first the first sort of power that our subdomain has is the proof of ownership, which I think is very key for NFT projects like ours. Because as Huddle says, Kongs were thinking about doing it, but they were not going to use it as proof of ownership. They weren't going to tie it to the NFT. And I went back and forth with Al quite a bit until eventually convincing him it's the most powerful part for us. But we will see subdomains used in lots of different ways, purely because they can be. But for any project, proving that you own that NFT without mimicry, you can't mint a Bored Ape, change it into a hexagon on Twitter because technically it's an NFT, because it will have to be for us.pcc.eth, which you can only have if you own, as it currently stands, a PCC. So with that information, we then automatically know that every subdomain that we have registered owns a cat, because, or in a way owns a cat, because the cat owns the subdomain and you own the cat, which unlocks, I guess, almost unlimited potential. It depends what you can think of and what, I guess, the Web 2 world of APIs can do. So for us, straight away, we'll be having a weekly giveaway. And that will not require any .pcc.eth to enter. You've already entered just by having a .pcc.eth, and that will be a kitten giveaway. Once the giveaway is done, we don't need to ask you for your wallet because it will just go to wherever your pcc.eth is. It's just automatically done. It's all very simple. Bish, bash, bosh, done. And then we're going to be doing a slightly, I guess, I don't want to say higher end one, but like one with a few more requirements, which is what I'm calling quests. And again, it's kind of mocking the current state of games in this space, where a quest is really just a transaction that doesn't really benefit anyone at all. Like, no one is actually better off because you've sent your hero or your companion on a side chain to go and do something. No, that has not actually done anything. Whereas in what we would call, real games, generally you're interacting with other people in a big online world. But what our quests will be is something that does interact with other people. We'll build up our own community by saying, hey, go and like 10 tweets from other .pcc.ethers, or hey, follow all the .pcc.ethers, and each week we can give one thing or maybe a few things that are required in order to qualify for a chance to win that week's giveaway. And the harder we make it, the more things you have to do, the more you reward those who can be bothered, because less people will do it, so their chances go up. Like if only one person completes everything, they then automatically win. If two complete it, then it's 50-50. If 100, you've got a 1% chance. So it depends on the community. And what we're hoping is this builds us even more. So what we do have is a very good community here. And I know everyone says that. They have to say that. But you just go into our Discord and you see actual conversation. That's very rare in the NFT space. I am in 200 Discords, and I often pop in just because, as I often say, I love stealing ideas. So if I see something good, I'm like, oh, how can I do that for us? So I go into plenty of Discords, maybe once a week, and, without fail, 90% of the time, there's at least one exclamation mark flaw, or one, oh, why is this guy paper handing, or blah de blah. Whereas you come into ours, and I'm going to regret this massively. What are people talking about?
Questing.
A
lot of quest chat.
Well, quest chat. Okay, well, I mean, that makes sense. But if you go a little higher, talking about the fuck render piece, FYI, everyone, we've actually got it.
Whee!
It's come in. I
It
got
looks sick.
to put it in the lobby bar. So we have a good level of chat in our community. People actually talk to each other. People actually know each other. You know, they're talking about X, Y, and Z, and they know. You know, the marathon this weekend. That was crazy to see. The
That was really
support
nice.
in the first place to get the donations over 10K, and then just like everyone tuning in on watching someone run a marathon, but from online, when you know them as a cat. It was wild to watch. And what we can do with these quests is get those people talking more. You can get your community to follow each other on Twitter easier. There's none of this hashtag ape follow ape, because guess what? You've got a list here, which we will improve. Again, I've said we do know the level of gamification that we can done. We've already had quilt.pcc.eth. There's been a couple of Grand Celtics.pcc.eth for some reason. We know this can happen. So we're already working on ways, before it's even launched, we've been working on ways to get past these inevitable scams that we knew were going to come. And in reality, the level of scams that they are, you know, they're just getting a follow. At the end of the day, they're just getting a follow from our community. They can't get the role because they don't have that proof of ownership. It's crazy. And guess what another quest could be? Unfollow all these scammers we've found that you might have followed from searching .pcc.eth on Twitter. Go unfollow them so you can feel good about it. We can literally provide the links to do that. That's going to need to be built, but it is possible. So we're very much thinking about that, and then it is also exposure as well, because talking in Discord gets you chatting to the people sort of one-on-one, building that relationship with the community, but it doesn't expose the community to anyone who hasn't already gone, oh, let's click that link to this Discord, because you have to join. Whereas Twitter, you're just shouting into the chasm and seeing who can hear. But if everyone's shouting together, if everyone's one quest is use the hashtag PCC and tell everyone your favorite thing about the project. And you could literally just scroll the hashtag and see why it's great. And maybe a couple of people that don't own a PCC will click that, join the Discord, and embrace our community. So it's a level of marketing as well. And, we're not going to be lazy lions. If I send all of you to do one thing, it will be attack Nate Alex. That's the only quest
It's the
worthy.
only thing we're going to
do. Week 1, attack Nate Alex. New reason to attack Nate Alex and like 3 of his tweets. Week 3, unlike those tweets. Anyone caught liking any of his tweets, all 5,000, out the ambassador program. We're not going to become lazy lions. It's not going to be like, oh, this celebrity has said they like NFTs. Go spam their post. No, we're very careful about our community, which you can see from what I've just said about the chat in our Discord. We don't want to sort of do actions like that would bring in the wrong people. And I know what you're all thinking, like, oh, subdomains aren't that big. All it is to shill on Twitter. NFTs live on Twitter and Discord. That's where you talk about them. You go on Instagram, suddenly, pure scams. So we are focusing this on Instagram and Discord, on Twitter and Discord, is because that's where we do everything. That's where NFTs are. But that isn't where subdomains have to be. So just, big picture, I tweeted earlier how Fortnite has an API. You can tell how people have played. Like in the last few weeks, you can tell if they've won. You could have your own Fortnite clan that has a subdomain, and if someone has won, you could automatically send them an NFT if they've won a game in that week, or maybe a clan sets a challenge where if you get over 20 kills in one game, and bringing that back to us, we can do that with our games nights as well. We can give out rewards for winners of games nights because we can see with other Web 2 projects' API what has happened if we know in advance. So it's really just, you just let your mind go. You open the floodgates and think, Web 2, API, how can you link proof of ownership into a community? And then obviously I then have to try and rein that back in for PCC, but still, I just, you can always, in some way, like that Fortnite idea, suddenly I've just changed that into NFT worlds in our country club game. Who's killed the most zombies that week? Are they a verified ambassador? If yes, get this. There's just once you just start thinking of the possibilities, it gets hard to stop because it gets a bit insane over what can be done. And the key it always comes back to is that you're building around this core ENS. We are building around PCC.eth, technically, and then the community is coming around that. And the levels of improvement that subdomains can do, I just don't know how other communities haven't. It just seems so obvious to me, and I don't get why they don't get it. And it must click for them soon, because with this level of Twitter and Discord integration, so people often come to me and say they're worried about Collabland, which is the only reason Discord is kind of good for NFTs, because you can verify the NFT with Collabland. Now imagine for a second you don't need Collabland at all. You're worried about it getting hacked. You're worried about it asking for some kind of verification because it's built up that level of trust. If Collabland DMs you at a reasonable time, you've just joined a server, they want you to verify your NFT, and then suddenly a rogue Collabland that just watches the people that come into the Discord, maybe they can check their wallets, see if they've got an NFT worth stealing, and then they send them a DM. And all of a sudden, because of that built-up trust, while Collabland doesn't DM anymore, some people might think that it does, and it's a level of attack. Whereas with subdomains, that's done. That's already registered. We can already link this. So subdomains have the potential to be a future Collabland level competitor without the threat of hack. Now, Collabland, like I said, it's got NFT Discord on its back. It is carrying it hard. So no hate to them, because all they are a vector of attack. That's not their fault. They're doing an amazing job, and they've completely changed their system to avoid scams. But people are dumb. Humans are dumb. We see that so much in this space, and just the extra level of protection. I can see that being a thing in the future. And I have this level of conviction on so many other things in our project as well. It's kind of insane that token, for example, should be at this level, and we're going to be using it at the same, as much. Yet it's not in everyone's faces, so people don't care as much. I don't know when it will flip, but at some point we'll flip from people will actually start thinking over just allowing marketing to wash over them. We are at 618 subdomains, and I tweeted a day and a half ago that we're in the 300s, I think.
So 618, and we've got, I think, 350.pcc.eth display names on Twitter.
We're running over, I think it was around 360 last time I looked, which is kind of incredible, really, knowing that I think pretty much every single one of those has got a real person sat behind it. 50% of all of our subdomains that are registered are out there representing it on Twitter and in our Discord.
Unbelievable.
And everyone's kind of just jumped up, and they've been doing it since the start of the week.
I think it started ramping up, over Easter weekend.
Yeah, so it's kind of incredible, really.
And you've been the kind of I guess the byproduct, is that the right way to say it? But the bot huddle that you've built for this new ambassador role, it doesn't just do the ambassador role.
It doesn't just do the ambassador role.
It's got a fun little game attached to it that all of us staff have been playing for the last few days.
Yeah, so we wrote the bot originally just to literally do that ambassador thing, the thing that Papa would go through doing, automatically removing people from their profile pictures, just a way of automating that. It just started off like that, a case of it goes to Twitter, pulls down all the pcc.eth names, it matches them up against our Discord members, and then it allocates roles based on the pcc.eth name has to exist, and there just has to be a singular of that PCC in our server, and they have to be represented on Twitter. But yeah, like Carlini said, the possibilities really are endless on the stuff you can do, and especially with the Twitter API. So Twitter API is quite rich. Kind of pulling down the individual people's followers, who they follow, and giving them a little kind of scorecard of, how many are you following out of the PCC.E. And there's kind of some members of the community that are pretty good at this game, to be honest. I don't even know how they're that good, to be honest, because I've got access to the data that feeds into the bot in the background, and I struggle to keep up with them on occasion. So yeah, that's kind of incredibly fun. One of the next things I'll be doing is doing a leaderboard for that. So we'll probably see like top 10 or something like that of who's following the other PCC.eth. And then building out, some extra things. We've got a couple of extra things in there as well. I don't know if you want to talk about them today or not.
Yeah, why not? I can't remember what you actually called it, but it's like a balance sheet, essentially.
Yeah. So we've got like a balance checker on there, and this isn't the collection log. And the collection log will be an NFT, I would think, of some kind.
Be way more fun.
For people, something that's in your wallet on the blockchain, that's probably a little bit more graphical and a little bit more fun. But there is a way, on this bot, of typing in your ENS label and a command, and it will give you your balance of all your airdrop tickets, how many cats you've got, how many kittens you've got, and when the new companion comes as well, you'll see how many of that you've got.
Oh, that was close there, right?
No, I don't. Not all for us to drop any alpha.
No, we're not far away. Snapshot's in 5 days, I think, for the last airdrop.
21st.
The last promised airdrop. Very nice, very nice.
So we've got that. We've also got a couple of other little things as well, ENS utilities. So the ability to query a cat and check if that's got an ENS attached to it.
Yes, which is a very, very nice feature if you're eyeing up. Not that it isn't possible to remove the subdomain, I guess, but if you're eyeing one up and you want to kind of see if it's got one attached already.
It's more, I think, if you go to the website and you try to put an ENS on a cat that's already got one, it won't let you. So you've got a way to query that as well. And then we've got the raffle feature in there as well, which we've kind of built in.
Yeah.
That isn't kind of fully rolled out yet, but the idea is that I know we don't do white list raffles very often. Some of the other projects do them a lot more. But whenever I entered whitelist raffles, it was always kind of a pain afterwards that I'd have to go through, and I would have to submit my address in a separate channel, and that would usually be kind of time locked. So again, the PCC.eth will allow us to automatically collect people's address to give it to projects if we do whitelist raffles, whitelist opportunities. And we'll probably be doing a few small giveaways through that raffle bot as well.
Absolutely.
Just to test it out. But that's like, say, small utility, but we've got to start somewhere.
I think it's going to be carnage. I don't know when to open it up. Shall I open the ambassador bot now?
I think you can open, like I was saying earlier. So we've obviously done quite a lot of testing on it.
Yes.
Twitter rate limit isn't kind of super public, and they have limits and numbers, but they vary based on the amount you spam in the API, and they give you certain cooldowns that they don't really tell you exactly what they are. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what kind of happens. I think there'll be periods where you'll see the bot is just not responsive at all, and what the bot will do is it'll kind of just back things up and hold them and wait for its API block to be released, and then it'll fire them off again. So you might see periods of that. So I think for the start, we will. I say we've only got a few limited commands in there at the moment. I did add an extra one in there today for you guys that I think you'll like. The ability to give a random hint.
Oh yeah, hint was good.
Oh, you should not have told them that right now.
I mean, as long as we slow mode it appropriately, I think it's
slow
fine.
mode is live. So it's Twitter, hint, ENS, cat number,
PCC, and your label as well. That does things. But yeah, it only take one person to do the hint, and then everyone will be on it. That will give a random follower that you aren't following. And like I say, it'll be on slow mode, so you can kind of query that once every hour or something.
Yeah, slow mode is set to an hour, and I can already see several people typing in the ambassador bot if you're in the Discord.
It will it will occasionally it will occasionally say, "I'm not giving you a hint now." I did kind of code that in, so especially if you get down to 2 or 3 left. The bot's not going to, hint. You're not going to get a hint 100% of the time. It will every now and again go.
The Purr was the hint, and then in the same minute he typed hint. He watched himself. He got himself as a hint. Oh no! He didn't.
No, he didn't, because that's what I did. So the bot queries who you're not following. And if it picks a random one out there, and if it picks yourself, then it says to you, no, you can't get one this time. So the less people you've got, the more chance you are the bot's going to say no, basically. But
Perfect. And Hoddle, do you want to speak on? I know there's already been a few questions in terms of can you game this system? Obviously, you mentioned the fake quilt.pcc.eth. How do we mitigate that? How do we fight that?
Yeah, so we've built into the pull mechanism a way of blacklisting Twitter users. Protected Twitter users won't be counted either way. So if you're a protected account, you won't be able to query your thing. I don't think you'll be eligible for ambassador, and also people won't have to follow you to get 100% of the followers.
It's just a bit of a I can see a world where people just troll by making a .pcc.eth, following everyone, and then making themselves private and removing people from following them. So it will drive others crazy, except them. So it's not that we want to discourage, people to be able to be private if they want to be. It's just it doesn't really work with the system. That's all. So you can be private in a .pcc.eth and rep it if you want. It's just some of the quote games won't be won't be there for you just because it kind of breaks Twitter APIs. And I think it could almost be possible if requests to follow could be found, because then at least, but they can be declined.
The thing is with a lot of these things, we've obviously kind of written this and we've put it out there. It's very much in a beta stage, so we'll carry on kind of, I guess, tuning it and But I say we've got a method of blacklisting people as well, specifically. So like fake quit, for instance, and the fake Grand Celtics that were out there, they were removed, so people weren't getting penalised for not following them. And we, encourage as well is, if you're spotting people that are fakes, report them and we'll add them to the bot, and then that kind of raises community awareness as well. We may at some point add in fact we probably will. We'll probably add in a command to be able to pull the blacklisted accounts. I think will kind of be useful as well.
I am making a website where this all goes down eventually. Don't worry, I'm not saying HODL, but I'm just seeing like visual leaderboards as you at the top of the site as you come in, and then the ability to get hints down the side, and the quest of the week in the very middle, the prizes underneath. It's all designed. This website's designed in my head. I just need someone who can build an awesome website that somehow integrates with this bot and Web3 and Web2 and veins and automatic changes and get past all the rate limiting.
So not a lot, right?
The rate limiting is the hardest thing because that's kind of something that's outside of our control. I guess that's and that's the biggest struggle for me, to be honest. Twitter API is actually fairly decent to work with, use. But yeah, once you hit the rate limit, and I guess the more people start playing as well, the more we're going to start hitting those rate limits. But what can you do?
Yeah, I guess that's the one thing that we can't get around just yet, but we can work on that.
You do slow mode.
So, I've slow moded it, but that's only one per person, and we have like 350 people on Twitter. So 354 by the looks of it.
I'll tell you what it says.
Jill?
It says it's sleeping for 530 seconds.
Oh, we killed it already. That was quick.
It will. I mean, I think we killed it earlier, like three of us. Like Carlin's like, give me another hint. I need another hint. You had about 8 hints. You were just hinting it all out.
6 minutes. We totaled it.
I'm not surprised. Honestly, not surprised. As long as I don't care if the bot hits rate limit and it, like that, because it will just come back to life afterwards. And especially if you've got a hint, you find what will happen is it will queue up your hint and then it will ping you, so you'll get a ping to say, here's your hint. But what I will look at is, doing some more caching within the application and try and reduce API calls. And I say I've got like leaderboard stuff that I'm going to add in and do some of that. And also happy to take suggestions, ideas from people, in the community. I say that quite a lot. But yeah, hit me up if you can think of anything.
I'm sure people will, absolutely. It's super exciting. I think this has gone really, really well so far. I think what excites me the most is how we can keep bringing stuff to it, and we can keep adding to it, and there'll be new avenues. And like you just said, HODL, somebody gives you an idea, and then that sparks into something else and something else and something else. So yeah, I mean, people are already trying to just find everyone on Twitter and follow everyone is great, and then it just keeps snowballing from there. I think somebody got a pcc.e subdomain yesterday, and they had just over 70 followers, and I think they're now sitting on 200 within like less than 24 hours. So yeah, there's plenty of us who are trying to find you and trying to access everything. I've been getting tagged. The account has been getting tagged in a thread of some ENFs. I think nibby.eth. I think they're in here. So hello. Been chatting with draftbeer.eth. Great name. When I tell you what else would be cool, draftbeer.pcc.eth. Hoddle, I'm going to tag it in you if you have the ability to see it whilst you're also on Spaces. I don't know what your setup is right now.
No, that's all right. I can probably get it on the. Yeah.
I've tagged you. Just there's some good questions in there in terms of what subdomains are and where they can go, and what the benefit that we're doing, the way that we're doing it, what the benefits are.
I think the thread.
Have you seen it?
Was tagged. How new is it?
I think
it's been going on basically the whole time we've been on here.
This is the other thing with the ENS subdomains. So ENS have created a set of smart contracts, and there's kind of several elements to them, but you've got the registration contracts and you've got the resolver contracts, and they're both public contracts which, you know, conform to an interface that, you know, and you've got the ability to create custom ones and swap them in and swap them out. And people create domains and they create subdomains, and they all use the, you know, like Budweiser got beer.eth, and then they've got uk.beer.eth, and, you know, everything that they do and everything that everybody else does is always with the ENS public stuff. And what we've done, and again, like, I know within the NFT world, we're the only people that have done anything like this in terms of utilising subdomains. But I've yet to see anyone else outside within Web3 that's done anything that utilises a, you know, custom resolver or a custom registration contract. And that's what we've done. And ENS have provided it. They provide all the documentation, and you know, that's how, you know, I'm obviously a developer, and I've been, you know, a developer for, you know, getting on for like 15 years now, writing code and whatever. I'm not a particularly fantastic developer. I kind of love learning stuff. Well, thank you. No, thank you. But I mean, there's like specifically within Web3 and to the guys that are into blockchains and stuff, they are, you know, kind of incredible. Some real big brains, and, you know, like, I could name loads of people, but, you know, look at like Owl from Hong and people like that, and they are people that have got real big brains that are, you know, well into this stuff, and they really know what they're doing. I'm not kind of like that, but I've got good ideas and I see visions and stuff like that of, you know, I think how things can work, and I just can't honestly believe that nobody else has done this yet. But, you know, our resolver, all it is a mapping between the ENS subdomains. That's all the contract does, is it just maps the ENS subdomain resolution to, you know, an ID of a cat, and then within that contract it calls the cat, you know, who owns this cat, and returns back that address. And it kind of is literally as simple as that. You've got to have a little bit of vision and a bit of, you know, I guess, of an idea to be able to make that work. But literally, like, you know, custom resolvers, custom registration contracts and interfaces, all the documentation is on here. It's all there for people to, you know, go through and do their own things. And I'm quite sure that, you know, once this starts happening and people start taking this technology and they start realizing how adaptable and extendable ENS is, then we'll start seeing some really cool implementations, you know, on things. You know, even like, because I mean, our thing is cool. You know, it, like I say, it moves with the dynamically with the cat, with the NFT, because it literally just, like I say, you know, there's a map in the contract that resolves the ENS subdomain directly to the CAPS and then returns back that address. We auto-resolve the profile picture, which I think is incredibly cool. You know, everybody that's got one of our subdomains that sets it as a primary, ENS on their account. So they go to any supported dApps and it will show, you know, their reverse resolution, their ENS, and also their profile picture, which is just really, really cool.
Really cool.
But like I say, this is just the tip of the iceberg.
The profile picture, I remember being the hard bit that you were working on for like the majority of the subdomain's time. And it just kind of seems, I guess, taken for granted at this point, because when you look at like the early, not even subdomains, the early domains, like you yourself was on Times Square for ENS's sort of reveal of the profile picture aspect of it, purely because you were one of the only people who'd bothered to attach your profile picture to the ENS. And I'm sure there's technical words that isn't attached to that you do.
But no, it's just because it's such a difficult and convoluted process. And the other thing is, as well, is it costs gas. You know, if somebody wants to put their NFT onto, if someone wants to put their NFT onto their domain or their subdomain, they have to pay a gas charge. And, you know, we don't. We auto-resolve it. We auto-send back that data that Web2 applications can then use. But you're right, it was one of the most difficult pieces of it. And I say the documentation for the custom resolvers and the custom registration contracts is there. It is, but it's not the best. But you can certainly, you know, I say it all works very well in Rinkeby as well.
I think we've also got our first emoji.pcc.eth as well.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, emojis are perfectly possible, I think, if you register them through the contract, probably. I don't think they're the right thing, though, necessarily for a brand, unless you're Mr. Bags. His money bags, doesn't he?
Here he is.
Mr. Moneybags. But yeah, I mean, you know, I just, you know, don't get it. Like, hodl.eth sold, I think, last week for like 30 Ethereum or something like that. Well, it wasn't last week, it was like last month, but something like that, 30 Ethereum. And I could just go in, you know, to my favorite project and register hodl.pcc.eth, and it's cost me $20. You know, and people can come into our community and they can register whatever name they want.
Yep.
You know, you need to worry about, you know, people name squatting and stuff like that, because there isn't any benefit to people name squatting either. It doesn't, you know, we don't display that data in terms of the cap. People can't see it when they're buying them or whatever. There's literally no reason apart from spite to register somebody else's name.
Yeah, which is also not the vibe of our community to do stuff in spite. I don't think either. Maybe
I agree.
For Bants, but
I think someone registered Pranksy, didn't they? Someone registered Pranksy and someone registered Gary V on the
We've got a Gary V, yes, indeed.
Because everyone was dead excited because they all thought that Gary V is registered one.
Like, oh my god!
No.
Yeah, I think it's really cool, just like you said, to basically to link something that's then personal to you. So obviously, you, for example, as Hodl, to then link it to an address that also has a link to your favorite project, that you can then use to connect with everyone else who is also in your favorite project. It's just, it's wild how much fun it's been, just as we kind of teased that little bit of the bot of like, well, you can easily follow everyone who's doing it, and that's how you'll be the ambassador and all this other sort of stuff. And then all of a sudden it's like, now everyone's trying to get it. And Fairwood's got 353 out of 354, and it's like, one to find, and it's like it's all of that sort of gamified.
Honestly, though, like, and you know, a lot of people say it, and it's dead cliche now, but we are early, and like seriously, ENS is going to, well, I think so anyway. ENS is going to underpin the foundations of Web3. And if you think about an era of, the internet where DNS or websites and email addresses didn't exist, you just can't even fathom it. Well, that's literally kind of where we are in Web3 at the moment. And, when we get to the point where, and I mentioned this at the start, so, a little bit about, isolation and, people developing stuff in isolation. And there's an awful lot of that, even just within Ethereum. So, people writing contracts that don't really communicate with any other contract on Ethereum. Well, imagine when we get to the point where we can communicate with the other chains and we can, forge data and read data between layer 2s and Ethereum, stuff like that. It's going to be really, really incredible and very, very powerful. And the ENS is going to be like binding that all together between the entire ecosystem, like the cross-chain layer 2s of Ethereum, and as we can see, Web 2. Right?
Yeah. I know you're saying the right stuff because I can see Bags just dropping applause emojis, and I'm like, all right, cool. This must be good stuff.
No, it really is, and I've honestly seen like so much over the past. I would even say just the past couple of weeks, the amount of, and it might partially be because of the Twitter algorithm as well, a little bit, but I just see ENS so much now, like. And, when we launch, this to me almost feels like the launch that we should have had in December when we actually launched. This almost feels bigger, which is kind of crazy because, like I say, we, 6 months ago, but people are opening their eyes to it and people are realizing that, ENS, subdomains and, readable human addresses is the future, and that's what it's going to be.
Also making ambassadors purple, which was a big thing.
Making ambassadors purple. Well, that was like that was the thing that people were most happy about, wasn't it?
I was like, oh man, I felt bad. We were putting you to work, sorting all this stuff out, and writing a new bot. And it's like, I should just change them on purple. Everyone was happy.
Change them to purple, and everyone's like, this is the best. Everyone's sleeping floor. We want that purple name.
Absolutely. And the fact that you can do it all, we can do it all automatically through the bot that you've built, and we can then push it and do everything else as well. Is pretty wild. We're coming up to the hour here on Spaces, which has been great chatting through everything and what we've got coming next and what we can build. As Hoddled has said, if you've got any suggestions on anything else that you want to see the bot do in terms of stats that you want to see about yourself, about other community members, then drop him some suggestions wherever you can find him, Twitter, in the Discord and everything else. I think what we're going to do is jump over to voice on Discord for our little after party. I don't know what time limit you set on it, Carlini, but I believe you have a giveaway to do.
I have a giveaway to do?
You have a giveaway to do. You tweeted yesterday with the Mega Dreamatorium article.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought that would be a fun little thing to do. And then also, if anyone has any questions, they can just jump in the lobby bar where we'll be hanging out for at least half an hour or so and answer some more questions. But yeah, I thought you could do the giveaway live there as well.
3, 2, 1, Crips Kiddies.
Ah, he's done it. Snuck it in. Lovely stuff. Hoddle, thank you so much for coming on your first PurrCast. I'm sure not the last, with all the fun stuff that we're going to be building. So yeah, appreciate you coming on, mate. Appreciate your time.
Just before we disappear,
yes,
I just do me shout out again that anyone's got any suggestions, anyone's got any ideas, as long as it's not shield.
Wrecked him.
Anyone
wrecked him.
That website that's in my head. Can you just build it? Thanks.
Build website. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah.
But yes, appreciate everyone coming to listen. This will be recorded as always. It will be live on our YouTube, I think, by midnight. It will be live as soon as this finishes on Twitter. And if you're listening back, then hello from the past. Hope everything is great in the future. Appreciate everyone being here right now, and we'll see you in the lobby bar in about 45 seconds.
Cool. See ya.
Bye.